All right, all right. Good evening. Good evening. Hey, everybody. Rusty, Jersey Red, what's up? Dennis, Peter, thank you so much. Yes, feeling much better tonight, although the cough still lingers. Let me turn this off here real quick. The cough still lingers, so hopefully I can resist the urges to completely devolve into these giant coughing fits. It's been holding on like crazy. So overall, I feel better, but yeah, still not out of the woods, right? But good day out in Sydney, Peter. Thanks for asking that. Jeff, what's up? Danny, welcome Friday night and all in Arkansas. Excellent. Keith, what's up in Perth? Wow, there you go. Election day. Still made it into the session. Excellent. Excellent. Tacoma, we've got MA. What's up? Good to see you. And Hafsa. All right, all right. Good to see you. Steve in NH. All right. Elias, how you doing? Rich, how you doing? Doug from Denver. Excellent. Well, thanks so much for joining tonight, everybody. I appreciate it. I'm happy that the comments seem to be working out of the browser tonight, so I can see y'all. So that's good. Those of you just joining for the first time, expand the description below the video. There's a link to some tabs. We're going to go over some rhythm styles tonight. We usually do this every month on the electric, but of course, a lot of these can be transferred to the acoustic. Okay. A little more on the sort of beginner and intermediate level rhythm guitar side of things in different genres. So hopefully some good examples, different genres, and cover a lot of ground here. And hopefully, as always, the goal of going through these is just to inspire some experimentation, inspire some practice this week, some things to work on, and hopefully experiment with and get a little bit better at. What's up, Zane? Oh, wow. Snow in Denver. That is crazy. Wow, wow. That's amazing. So it's pretty hot here in Nashville area today, so have the ACs and fans going in here. Bourbon time, Friday. All right. HH from Ottawa. Great to see you. Thanks for joining, as always. Excellent. All right. So hopefully you've downloaded that PDF with the tabs. That is insane. Look at that. Doug is saying it was 86 in Denver yesterday. Now it's in the mid 30s and snowing. Sounds like a lot from where I'm from, Calgary, up in Canada. We would get snow in May, in June, in July, September, wouldn't matter. Don't ever remember getting it in August, but that's about it. So, yeah, the Rocky Mountains, kind of wacky weather, right? Oh, Rich, we've got COVID and lockdowns in Beijing. Oh, man, that's crazy. Glad you're joining. And hopefully we'll inspire some practice during lockdown here, right? Theodore, what's up? Good to see you. Am I at home or in studio? This is the home studio out in the garage, Rusty. So I built a little room in the garage, but it's not exactly climate controlled. So when it gets super hot outside, it's super hot in here. So we'll just sweat it out, all right? All right, all right. Danny just got over it too. Yeah, I think you know what I'm talking about, man. My whole family got it before me. I was the last to get it, and man, it just hangs on. So look at that. Peachtree Schnapps. Schnapps. Got you through it. Is the audio still working for everybody? It's not working for Doug all of a sudden. Is it working for everybody else? Hopefully it's still working. Hopefully you can hear everything loud and clear. Okay. Seems to be coming through here. Okay, good, good, good. Thanks for the feedback, everybody. Doug, hopefully you can figure it out. All right. Excellent. Good. Exercise 1 from a little song. I'm going to be filming some stuff for Guitar Tricks, some songs next week. So I pulled a bunch of these examples from these songs I'm just working on right now. This is actually an acoustic guitar sort of strum, but you can kind of do these kind of strums on the electric, no problem. Using some open chords. Sounds like this. And what's interesting about this one is that we've got some quick upstrokes, 16th notes in the third and fourth bar of this first example that lead us to want to strum this with downstrokes, except for those 16th note upstrokes. So even on the ands, we're strumming down, okay? Larry from Shasta Lake, all right. Welcome, welcome. Okay. HH, great question. I'm going to get to it after this example, okay? All right, so we're going to start on a D chord. That's the first bar right there. 1, 2, and 3, 4. So on the first beat, we've got a downstroke strum. Second beat, we've got the second beat and the end of 2, both downstrokes. 1, 2, and then right into the third beat with a change to the G chord. 3, back to the D chord on 4. Okay, so we're going to put 2 of them together, so it sounds like this. Whoops, one more time. One more time for good measure, all right? U2 Desire. No, unfortunately not a U2 song. This is actually an old Stones song, believe it or not. Not one of the more recognizable ones. We'll see if somebody gets it. So 2 of these bars together sounds like this. Okay. Third bar, we're going to the C add 9 chord. If you've never seen that one before, third fret of the A, second fret of the D, open G, third fret of the B, and high E string. It's basically a G shape with the root notes moved up a string set. And this D note added to the C chord basically makes it an add 9. So it's a little bit of a floatier sound. Very common, right? And this is where the strum pattern adds an upstroke on a 16th note. So, okay, so 1, 2, and then a quick upstroke before 3 and 4 and, which are all downstrokes. Okay. Going to apply that same strumming pattern to the last bar, which is a different chord. Okay, we're going to do an A chord. This one's a little bit of a stretcher, okay? So I got the open A string barring down at the second fret of the D, G, and B, but stretching that pinky to get the high A note, 5th fret of the high string. Okay, this is a pretty, you'll see this from time to time, kind of a common chord, okay? Basically just an open A, but instead of the E up top, you're doing a higher A. Again, we're going to do the same strum, except on those last 4 strums, the first 3, we're going to add the 3rd fret of the B string, so that makes it an A sus4. So those last 2 bars are going to sound like this. Put the whole thing together and hopefully play this at a little bit of a tempo. It sounds like this. All right, that's what we're going for. So it's a little bit faster, which is why you can kind of get away with all those downstrokes in a row a little bit. You want to really work on getting those nice and in the groove, okay? But it is a fun thing to practice with, kind of strumming with mostly downstrokes, and then just adding in a little bit of an upstroke as brings a nice texture, one of those 16th note upstrokes. Always adds a nice texture to a strumming pattern, okay? Makes sense? And We Love You by the Stones. Good guess, but not correct. Not correct, Jim. That is on the list, actually. I think we're doing that one coming up in the next couple months. We're going to be filming that one. What's up, Craig? Thanks for joining. It was a good guess. I think you're in the right era, okay? And also, I'm playing it without the capo. It's actually capoed up to the 3rd fret. So it's in a different key. So maybe that might be a little bit tricky to kind of figure out. Hey, Jay, what's up? Thanks for joining. Right on. All right. I'll let you know in a bit if you can't figure it out. HH has a question. My song sounds all the same when I'm playing chords. When does it sound like it sounds to me? Okay, so your husband says your song sounds, all the songs sound the same, maybe, is what I'm thinking. When you're playing chords, when does it sound like it sounds to me? I think one of the things that maybe you can do, especially when you're playing in front of your spouse, after you've done all the practicing, first of all, if you're doing all the practicing that you should be doing, you shouldn't be around the spouse, okay? Because practice requires a lot of repetition. It's enough to drive a spouse crazy, right? So we want to have a quiet space away from spouse and anyone else, okay, to do all that work. However, I have a suggestion to maybe some of those songs, if you can find backing tracks to them and play along with tracks, right? Then it's going to sound a little bit more like in context for him, right? Because when we play songs, typically we've got stuff running in our head a little bit. We kind of fill in the gaps with what we're trying to do, right? So I would say that, if you can get a hold of some backing tracks, or if you're playing guitar trick songs, fire up the Jam Along video and play along with that, because we've got, the band tracks and the vocals and all that stuff. And excuse me. Got a lot of other suggestions in the comments for you, HH. So greetings from Oslo. All right, Mario, how you doing? Doug, I'm a huge Stones fan, but can't get this. Yeah, I'm filming 2 Stones songs this time that are like kind of obscure and early. So this Stones song is a song called Who's Been Sleeping Here? That's the name of it. I don't know if that rings any bells for anyone. But all right on, HH. Make them listen. There you go. There you go. So yeah, that's the Stones song. The other one we're doing is Who's Been Driving Your Plane, which is kind of a messy blues, early blues song from the Stones. We're doing that one next week too. Gonna be filming that. Anyway, cool. Anyway, like I said, this first example was originally on an acoustic, capoed up to 3. So in the key of F instead of D, right? All right. Y'all with me so far? Exercise 2, syncopated rock rhythm. Okay, see if we can guess this one. I'm filming this one next week. Different era. Think early 90s. Possibly late 80s. I think early 90s, though. But some great syncopated strums here. The first part of this are power chords, okay? And the second part of this goes to a repeated riff with open chords. And what I like about this example is that this is a great example of a lot of the songs where the rhythm guitars are a little messier. So what you'll see in the tabs are strums of the open strings, okay? Doug's asking if we ever did Painted Black. I believe it's still, I did do Painted Black, and I'm pretty sure it's still on Guitar Tricks, okay? So I think it's still up there. It may have been pulled down, but I think all the Stones is still up there, isn't it? Anyway, back to this tab. I really want to point out that, please don't get freaked out by the, a lot of the 000 tab strums, as you'll see. Okay, we've got a power chord. We're starting off with an E power chord. Okay. And anytime you see those zeros, it's not meant to be an accurate thing. It's almost like a ghost strum on the open strings, and it doesn't even matter where you do it. The idea is that it's being played at a tempo where the guitar player is switching the chords on one of the strums. So he's not fretting anything. He just has sort of an in-between strum on the open strings, okay? And I've had students in the past sort of analyze these and think, oh, well, I need to get all the strings, or I need to hit just these strings while I do that. It's like, no, that's making it way too complicated. Just know that when you see the zeros, It just means you're changing chords, and you're going to hit a strum in between putting your fingers down on a chord. So for example, if I can play this right, the first 2 bars will look like this. Okay? Don't know if you know that one. A little bit faster. Excuse me, and then into the riff. All right, we already have this song on Guitar Tricks, but we're doing an updated version of it because it was filmed a long time ago, right? So that they like to have some stuff in there up on 5K video resolution and all that. So we're going back and kind of filming a lot of the more popular older tutorials. Okay, Vinny, appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much. Okay. So hopefully you see what I'm doing there. Okay, let's break down a little bit the power chords, okay? You've got a down, down, up on the E power chord. And on that last upstroke, that's when you're switching up to the higher octave E power chords, 7th fret of the A, 9th fret of the D and G. And you can add in the low E string, right? So the very last strum of that, going into the second bar, we're going to be moving our hand off that again. So it's an upstroke on the open strings, grabbing 5, 7, and 7 on the low A and D string. That's an A power chord. This time we want to do a muted strum there. So kind of like that. You want to strum, but have the karate chop down with you so that it's that percussive thing. And then on the upstroke, you're going to grab 3, 5, and 5 on the A, D, and G to grab that C power chord. And then it's up, down, up after that. But that last upstroke is going to be the open strings, getting into the second part of the riff, which is bars 3 and 4. Okay, so. Right? Anybody recognize this song, by the way? Okay. Just 2 chords in that last, those last 2 bars. E minor. Vinny's got it. Yeah, Steve, you got it. Song called About a Girl, right? Yeah, Mario's got it. E minor, right? And it starts with the same strums as what we did in the first bar, except on the full E minor chord. Down, down, up. But on that upstroke, we're moving our fingers off and placing an open G chord. Down, up, down, and then on the upstroke, we're moving our fingers off back to the E minor. Then it's all 8th notes. So it's down, up, and then right before the change, that upstroke is going to be open strings when we move to the next chord. So that's the whole thing there. You're going to find a lot of examples of sort of rock songs, pop songs, where that's sort of the texture. It's the way the guitar player plays. Not all the time. Sometimes we have those chord changes really crisp so that you don't have any open strings in between the changes. And that's one way that you'll hear it. But other songs, you're going to hear it's part of the groove, part of the sound, where in between every chord change, there's like a strum that happens that's just on the open strings. And that's totally cool. Totally fine. All right. I believe Anders teaches this in the new fundamentals course too. I think he actually starts with this kind of thing so that it gives you time to get your fingers in position for the next chord. Cool stuff. All right. Yeah. Look for that. A little bit of Nirvana, right? Exercise 3. I like this one. Rock on, Jim. Thanks so much. Definitely check it out tomorrow. All right. All right. We talked about this band last week. We'll see who can identify this song. I'm just going to play through it first, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. So a little bit of arpeggiating and a little bit of strumming in between. Actually, a little bit of hybrid strumming, meaning some plucking with the fingers as well as picking with strings. Excuse me. All right, so this is how it goes. We'll see if I can do it. All right, so the last couple bars are sort of the key to if you can think of what song this is and what band. But I'll go ahead and talk about it a little bit. Got pretty typical chord progression in the key of D minor. And the first 4 bars have the exact same strum and arpeggiation approach. First off, notice that we're using a combination of bar chords and open chords, and the bar chords are root 6 bar chords, which means the root's on the 6th string, but we're not actually playing those. And that's pretty common too. Sometimes you can just grab the top 5 notes of one of those bar chord shapes. Particularly if you're playing with backing track or a bass player or a keyboard player, they tend to fill in the bass a little bit, and you can kind of get away with this kind of thing a lot more, where you don't necessarily have to have the actual root of the chord in there. So more probably for completeness, I probably should have called this an F/C chord because the lowest note is a C. It's still cool. So you've got 2 downstrokes. Okay. And a couple strums. 1 strum on the full chord, the next one sort of on the lower part of the chord. Just arpeggiating top string, letting that ring out for a bit, and then B and then G string. Applying that to the C chord. Open C, nothing special about that. Excuse me, and I apologize for all the coughing. It's been a brutal week of coughing, my friends. And then G minor. Normally we would have that low G note, 3rd fret of the low string, but it's okay to grab the top 5 notes of that. More of a G minor / D. D is the lowest note. Same strums and then picks. Okay, and then to an open D minor. Okay. D minor's got the open D string, 2nd fret of the G, 3rd fret of the B, 1st fret of the high string. What's that? MKA Mel, Tripoli's in the house. Welcome, welcome. Excellent. Awesome. All right, then it kind of changes into this. Pick the open D string and then pluck. Excellent, Theodore. Thanks for tuning in, my man. Okay. So what I've got is pick on the G string, and I'm plucking at the same time on the B and high E string. Okay. And then the open high E string. It's sort of a melodic thing, right? What's up, Douglas? How you doing? Going to C sharp diminished 7th. So a little bit of an interesting chord, right? From the D minor, down 1 fret. So you've got the 4th fret of the A, 5th fret of the D, 3rd fret of the G, 5th fret of the B string. You're going to slide up 3 frets. That's kind of a cool move that you can do with that sort of diminished sound, because there's basically made of minor thirds stacked, right? So if you can just slide it up 3 frets. Right, get that Scooby-Doo kind of thing going on. What's up, King 50? Good to see you. All right, all right. Okay, so Doing that slide up, open E string, and then down to D minor in the different position because we're up at the 6th position. Might as well hit it. The root on the A string, D minor bar chord. Okay? Everybody with me? Anyone know the song? Anyone know the band? Let's see. Nobody? It's ABBA. We talked about ABBA last week. I guess our ABBA fans are not here tonight. A song called SOS. Cool chord progression, right? All right. Coming into exercise 4, question first, though. Doug, in focusing on lead guitar and cage lately, would you agree that rhythm and good rhythm timing and techniques are overlooked by many? I agree with Keith here. Keith says that rhythm is the base for everything. I'll go even further and say the number one skill for a guitar player to sound good, rhythm. 100%. I played gigs professionally, done some sessions. 90 to 95% of all of it has been rhythm guitar. How well can you stay in the pocket? How well can you stay solid? How clean are your chord changes? How good is your feel? All of that stuff. Timing and feel, clean chord changes. It's everything. Okay? So I plus 1,000 to your comment, Doug. Okay? Lead guitar has its place, and of course, we all love to play lead. It's an important part of playing guitar. However, in the real world, you can be the greatest lead guitarist. If you don't have any rhythm chops, you don't have much else. Okay? There you go. Mario is in the ABBA Museum. Isn't that cool? In Stockholm. Love that. John Burgess. EVH once said, don't worry about lead till you get good at rhythm. I think that's great advice. Let's see. Russ, I notice on the chord progression, you go up 5 notes from each note. F, C, G, D. Is there some theory to that? You know what? Not really. That is interesting. It goes up fifths, right? The roots are going up in fifths. That's pretty cool. I don't think that's anything specific. If you think about it, it's in the key of D minor. So what would that be? A flat 3 to a flat 7 to the 4 minor to the 1 minor. Okay, so it's just a typical sort of minor key progression. It just so happens that it goes in fifths. Okay, so I think that's a good eye on that. But whether or not the songwriter, the guy from ABBA, was thinking in fifths when he wrote that, I don't know. But cool observation. And there you go. Usually those moves to fifths work really well. So there you go, kind of cycle in fifths a little bit, but stay in a key, right? Because you notice the qualities of the chords change. You've got a major chord, then a minor chord, and a minor chord. Pretty cool. All right. Vinny's got gold top envy. Right on. I love it. Keith says, I must be old. I went to an ABBA concert. Yeah, that was a while ago, right? Crazy. That's pretty awesome, my friend. All right. Exercise 4. We got to get into the blues, right? So, this is that other song I was talking about, this other Stone song, Whose Drive in Your Plane, has this riff that we play all the way through. And we've got the, of course, the shuffle feel, right? So instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, which is the straight time equally divided subdivisions for eighth notes. We've got the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So those upstrokes or those ands are happening a little bit closer to the next downstroke or the next major beat of the bar. Now I'm actually going to play this with all downstrokes, but just understand that this has got the shuffle rhythm, so it sounds something like this. Excuse me, pretty straight ahead, shuffly blues riff, right? This guitar is a little bit out of tune. We got to figure that out. It's just the heat in here is wreaking havoc. Come on now. It's the G string went out on it. All right. So let's look at this. Playing off the higher part of a G power chord. Okay, notice we're not playing with the root, a low root. We're playing on the higher part of that power chord. Okay, so you've got third fret of the low string ordinarily, but because of the way that we're playing the riff, you want your index finger anchored on the fifth fret of the A and D string. Then you've got the sixth and seventh fret of the low string. Fifth fret again in the A and D, and then adding the seventh fret to the A string. So it comes out of this. That kind of idea, but instead you've got the higher G note that you're playing. Now check out the rhythm. Once again, on the first beat, just strum on that chord, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. Okay? And you're going to hold that, the and of 4, over into the next bar, and then play it right before. So when you repeat it, you're actually landing that first, you're hitting that chord again, or you're repeating the riff on the and of 4 instead of starting it on the 1 again, right? Now it's just a matter of applying that whole approach to the chords in the 12-bar blues, which would be C chord and then a D chord. Okay, so when you move to the C chord, all you have to do is move up a string set. Okay, cool. Yeah, Mario, totally. And then, go back to the G chord, and then I've tabbed out in the second part on the top of the next page, the turnaround. So for the D chord, you're going to move that up 2 frets. And then go back to the C chord, down quickly 2 frets, and then play one more time through on the G chord. And then, of course, you got to have some sort of move to the 5 chord in the turnaround. So you do a chromatic strum on the C7 bar chord, root on the A string. So bar down on the 3rd fret, starting from the A string all the way up, add the 5th fret of the D and B string. Just move that up chromatically. You end up at D7, right? Make sense? So pretty cool riff, right? Like straight ahead. Right on, Doug. Cool. All right, so there's your blues for this session. Got to have a blues. Next one. Excuse me, I apologize. So hold on, I'm running out of water a little bit here. Got to fill it up. Fill up the goblet, right? Excellent. Okay. We've got exercise 5, R&B. So here's another song I'm filming next week. Sort of an Otis Redding tune. Change is Gonna Come, I think it's called. I think it was a Sam Cooke song as well, but there's an Otis Redding version we're going to film. This has a lot of guitar in it, a lot of cool guitar. So, kind of different for this one is it's in the key of A flat. So if you grab an A flat bar chord, 4th position, but only think of the top 4 strings, okay? That's sort of the structure of it. It's got some cool chords to it. It's a lot more movement. So looking at that first bar, we're on A flat for the whole bar. And then a little embellishment. So we start off with a couple nice strums. Letting that chord ring and just hitting, all you got to do on the top string with your pinky and just do a little bit of a quick hammer-on pull-off on the top string to the 6th fret, back to the 4th. And then some sixth interval harmonized melody there. Very typical. Starting with just the G string, 5th fret, and the 4th fret of the high string. That's straight out of the A flat chord, right? But just hitting those 2 notes. Okay, so I use hybrid picking. I pick the G, pluck the high string. If you curl your finger to mute the B, you could pick the whole thing or strum the whole thing, right? Like that. 6th fret of the G and high E string, and then the 8th fret. Ending off on the B flat minor chord. So you've got the 8th fret of the D string barring down on the 6th fret of the top 3. Now check it out on the G string. That same quick hammer on, 2 frets up, this time on the G string out of the chord shape for minor. Okay, so. And you could even dig into the whole chord if you wanted to. What's up, Tien? Welcome. All sounds good, letting it all ring out, okay? D flat chord. So I'm just using a major bar chord shape, root on the A string, 4th fret, and 6th fret of the D, G, and B. Okay? D flat to C minor. So you got basically a B minor up a fret. Just a strum each on those. So now we're going to F minor. Okay? So from B flat minor, same shape, down in the 1st position. So I got 3rd fret of the D barring down on the 1st fret of the G, B, and E. Once again, doing the same hammer-on works really well. Just holding the chord out. Quick hammer-on. 1 to 3 to 1 on the high string. Back up to A flat. This time, doing it on the G string on a major shape, you're doing it from the 5th fret to the 6th fret back to the 5th fret, giving it a sus4 sound. Okay. These are really like straight ahead embellishments off the chord shapes that work really well. Okay. Look at how many chords that were just literally. Okay. you can mess with the rhythms a little bit, right? Right, a little bit Hendrixy, a little bit R&B-ish, right? All of that rolled right in. Just embellishing off the chord shapes and getting to know these tricks. They're all sort of the same types of tricks once you learn where those melody notes are in the scale around the chord, okay? Yeah, Doug's got a good question or a good point. Just ghost strums for timing and feel. You know, it's not so much, yeah, the ghost strums. It's basically what we talk about a lot in these sessions is if you can, you know, figure out what your subdivision is for the strum. If it's eighth notes, if you're choosing to do eighth notes down, up, down, up, down, up, even if you're not strumming all of those beats in the bar, to have that motion going, right? Preferably locked to a foot tap or something, or the metronome or the track or whatever it is. That's what keeps your timing, right? Because if you stop that, start doing upstrokes and downstrokes, that's where the timing gets really loose. Nice and tight is if you're relaxed and you just keep this motion going, right? Doesn't mean I always have to, right? Doesn't mean I have to strike the strings every time, but it keeps me 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? Great point, Doug. Excellent. Highly recommended. Rusty, appreciate it. Take care, my friend. All right, you might recognize this song. I like this because we're using some major 7, minor 7 chords. And again, just getting some strumming practice, okay? Kind of goes something like this. Okay. Starting with a G major 7, up at the 10th position. So I'm barring down from the A string all the way up on the 10th fret, adding the 12th fret of the D, 11th fret of the G, 12th fret of the B. Down, 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 up, down. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? There you go, Russ. You got it. F minor 7 is 1 fret down, still barring down, 9th fret now, A string all the way up, grabbing 11 on the D and 10 on the B. There's your minor 7 shape. And of course, we've got that muted strum after that. So it's a down up with a muted strum as we move to the B minor 7, 7th position. That's going to be the 7th fret of the low string, curling my finger to mute the A string, barring down on the top 4 strings, 7th fret. See that one. Muted strum, right? So want to get that karate chop down, or just something, the hand down there, so that that downstroke is muted, and you come back up with the upstroke on the next chord. And then a couple strums after that. All right, so. Ain't no mountain high enough, I think, right? I went on to continue it with the same chords in different positions. So you can play this in different positions using different string sets. So the second bar, second line of this is okay. So major 7 shape with the root on the D string. It's going to be the 5th fret and then barring down 7th fret of the top 3 strings. Okay, it's a good one. The minor 7 shape is tricky with the root on the D string, okay? Because you got to get the 5th fret of the top 2 strings. You've got 4 and 6 on the D and G. but you got to get 5 with one finger on the top 2 strings. So you kind of got to flatten that finger on the top 2 strings. And then you've got the B minor 7 shape. Okay. King 50, totally. It's an absolute go-to song on American Idol, isn't it? That's funny. Really good. Apologies, everybody. Just the final lozenge for the evening. Get that in there. All right. Cool. So you put all that stuff together, and you're just practicing the same chords at different areas of the neck, right? Fun. It's a feel-good one, right? Go with it slow. Keep it going. Remember to keep this going, right, Doug? Right? Got it going. Keep it going. Excellent. How we doing? Everybody good? Everybody hanging in there? All right, a little bit of a country rock, southern rock riff. You might recognize this one. Let's see. All right, right on, HH. Pretty simple. CCR, not quite. Yeah, I can see where you kind of have that. It's got that kind of, it's sort of got the same feel to it, Douglas. But yeah, give me 2 steps, a little bit of Skinnerd, right? Playing off the D chord. Okay, just playing off a D power chord. So again, just anchoring, very similar to earlier to the blues example, right? 7th fret of the D and G. You've got the 7th and 9th fret on the A string. Okay. Pretty cool. You're just playing off of a power chord, anchoring down with the index finger, and got the 7th and 9th frets. It's all sort of major pentatonic kind of stuff, right? Then you're just moving off the open A position. What's cool is when you start getting going on this, let's look at the tab a little bit closer. Look at the rhythm. So you've got an 8th note and then an 8th rest. So you're actually cutting that off right away. On the second beat, you've got, the double stop that we're playing off of, and then the 9th fret of the A. 2 strums, back to 9, and then another strum that hangs over the bar, hangs over into the second bar. So we're actually coming in on the end of 1, letting that ring out, doing the exact same rhythm on the A chord. Okay. Fun one, right? So with stuff like this that's maybe a little bit challenging at first, up to tempo, be sure to just slow it right down and make sure that you're getting it correctly at a slow tempo. And then from there, it's just lots of repetition to burn it into your muscles to be able to start to raise the tempo. Okay, so you might have to play it as, Okay. Excellent. I like to end off these rhythm. Right on, Russ. Russ is talking about just being able to see the pentatonic stuff in that riff. So if you think about it, okay, so remember that your pentatonic box for major can be anchored by that index finger, playing off the major bar chord, right? But if you move your index finger, you've got that pentatonic box. So if you start messing with that, you got all of that available to you to play off of that chord. That's kind of the home base, right? Okay, yeah, that's the G shape. You got it. Keith's got it, right? From the Caged. Right on, Douglas. Appreciate you dropping in. Thanks so much, man. All right. Okay, so exercise 8. I like to end on a little jazzy note. So why not do a little Autumn Leaves with a swinging strum pattern? Nothing too difficult. Our first chord is going to be an E minor 7. So we've seen the minor 7 shape with the root on the A string before. This time up at the 7th fret. A string barring all the way up. 9th fret of the D, 8th fret of the B string. Okay. Remember, we got to swing, right? So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, that's what we got going. We use our karate chop in between after those upstrokes to get those rests, okay? Playing a little too aggressively. I'm trying to find the pocket here, being a little jazzy, right? Roll my tone down a little bit. Okay, cool. Talk a little bit about the chords, right? We got E minor 7. These are all extended chords, right? 7th chords. So the minor 7 going to the dominant 7th, and this is a great voicing of that with the root on the D string. So you got an A note here, and then you've got the upper part of that chord is like the open D7 shape, but it's up here, right? And then the major 7 with the root on the A string. Seen that on a previous example. And then the major 7 with the root on the D string. Right? Saw that in a previous example. It's time for G. Then we haven't seen the minor 7 flat 5, which is a little bit of a interesting dissonant kind of chord sound. 4th fret of the A, 5th fret of the D, 4th fret of the G, 5th fret of the B. And then there's my error, my mistake tonight. I apologize. I'll be fixing that and uploading it after the session, but that is not F sharp minor 7. It's F sharp 7. It's a dominant 7th chord. So just the chord name is wrong. I apologize, everybody. Okay. That's an F sharp 7. And the tab is correct. It's just the name of it is wrong. It's actually the same as the A earlier, right? Then you go to B minor 7. Same voicing as the E7. And then turn that into a B7 by just adding your pinky to the 4th fret of the B. Going from a minor 3rd to a major 3rd right there. And that pulls nicely, right? It's chromatic. Pulls to the E note, which takes us back to, works great going to the E chord, right? So. Hear that. Makes sense? All right, I apologize about the name in the chord error. I will fix it. Get it back up there as a version 2 as soon as I can after the session. Thanks, Mario. Appreciate that. Love those jazzy chords, right? Those 7th chords, extended chords. There's just a lot of character, a lot of color, right? So highly recommend trying to get them under your fingers, okay? Try to do that every time. All right. Thanks, Russ. Thanks, H. All right, everybody. That's all I got tonight. So hopefully next week, we're going to be back on the acoustic. It's an acoustic workout. And hopefully there'll be no cough. Danny, thank you. Thanks so much for joining. Everybody, thanks so much for the questions, the engagement. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Keith, right on. Cheers back at you. Theodore, thank you. HH, thank you. Jeff, thank you. You too. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks, Mario. Have a great next week. Zane's going to work on the jazz example. Excellent, excellent. We'll see you next week. Russ, thank you. Jay, thank you. Great to see you here. All right, everybody. Take care. We'll see you next Friday, same time, on the acoustic. And have a great week. And we'll see you soon. Take care. Thanks so much, everybody. Cheers.